In this massive AI gold rush, all the headlines are about the flashy chip makers and the big model builders. But today, we're going to look at a completely different kind of company, the one that's quietly supplying the picks and shovels, the stuff that makes this whole revolution even possible. Okay, let's get into it. So, when you see these mind-blowing AI demos, what do you think is really making it all happen? Is it just raw computing power? Super complex code? Well, the real answer is actually a lot less glamorous, but way more important. Because, at the end of the day, it all boils down to the information these AI models are trained on. Without clean, accurate, relevant data, even the most brilliant algorithm is basically useless. And that brings us to this huge, often overlooked problem in the industry. And that problem is what we're calling AI's dirty little secret, the data problem. It's this messy, foundational issue that every single company playing in the AI sandbox has to solve before they can do anything cool. You've probably heard the old saying, garbage in, garbage out. And for AI, that's literally the gospel truth. On one side, you've got the world's raw data. It's a complete mess, right? It's inaccurate, it's incomplete, it's just chaotic. But on the other side, that's what AI actually needs. Perfectly clean, structured, and relevant data. And getting from A to B, that's a monumental job. And that right there is where a company like Innodata comes into the picture. They've built their entire business around solving this one single critical problem, turning that raw, useless digital junk into the high-octane fuel that powers modern AI. The best way to think about it is like this. Back in the gold rush, who really got rich? It wasn't always the folks digging for gold, it was the people selling the picks and shovels. Well, Innodata is playing that exact role today. They're providing the essential data wrangling services that everyone, from tiny startups to the biggest tech giants, is desperate for. So how do they actually pull this off? Their secret sauce is what they call the human-in-the-loop framework. This isn't just some automated software. It's a really clever blend of their own proprietary tech with a huge network of over 6,000 human experts. These people annotate, validate, and perfect the data. It's that mix of machine speed and real human intelligence that gives them their edge. Their whole process is basically a quality-controlled pipeline. So first, they take in all the messy, raw data. Then, they use their platform and their people to clean it up and label everything. After that, they have actual subject matter experts come in and validate it all for accuracy. And finally, they deliver this perfect AI-ready dataset to the client. And look, don't just take my word for it. Their CEO, Jack Abuhoff, basically says they're the special ops team you call in for the really hard jobs. When projects get too big, too complicated, or just too specialized for anyone else to handle, that's when Innodata gets the call. Okay, so the strategy sounds great, but is it actually working? Is it paying off? Well, let's just say the numbers are pretty compelling. The proof is definitely in the performance here. All right, first up, let's look at the top line. In just the second quarter of 2025, Innodata brought in over $58 million. That's a really solid number for a company this size. But here's where it gets really nuts. That revenue represents 79% year-over-year growth. I mean, that's not just growing, that's exploding. It just shows you how insane the demand for their services right now. And what about the investors who got in early? The payoff has been absolutely spectacular. A 13 times increase in their stock price in just 3 years. This company was in the right place at the right time, and wow, did they execute. And to be clear, this isn't just some empty hype. Just look at who their customers are. 5 of the magnificent 7 tech giants. And get this, their largest customer contract grew from $8 million to a mind-boggling $135 million annual run rate. That shows they can scale with the biggest players on the planet. So what's coming up next? The company is already looking ahead to the next big thing in the industry, something called Agentic AI. But of course, with huge opportunities come some pretty big risks. Okay, so what is Agentic AI? It's basically the next step in the evolution. We're talking about AI systems that don't just answer your questions, but can actually act on their own to complete complex, multi-step goals. Think of an AI agent managing an entire supply chain or running a factory floor, all with almost no human help. Now, for an AI to be able to act on its own like that, the data it's built on has to be absolutely perfect. There's no room for error. This future is going to demand levels of data safety and trust that we've never seen before. And that, right there, is Innodata's massive opportunity. Their job becomes even more critical in a world run by autonomous AI. So let's do a quick financial checkup. We're looking at a company with a market value of $1.4 billion, a forward PE of about 40, and they're projected to hit over $300 million in sales by 2026. But honestly, the most impressive part? Zero debt. They've managed all this growth without owing anyone a dime, which is just wild for a tech company these days. But of course, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. You've got to look at the risks. For Innodata, the big one is customer concentration. More than half of their revenue comes from just 2 clients. That's a lot of eggs in one basket. And then there's always the threat of more competition jumping into their space, either from big tech or other specialists. All right, so after laying all that out, what's the big takeaway here? What should we remember? It really comes down to this. Innodata is a very rare find in today's market. You have a small cap company that is already profitable, has absolutely no debt, and is providing a service that is completely essential to the biggest technological revolution of our lifetime. And that leaves us with a really fascinating question for the future, doesn't it? As the AI models themselves get better and easier to build, where does the real power lie? Is it with the people building the algorithms? Or is it with the people who have mastered the data, the very thing that makes those algorithms smart in the first place? That's definitely something to think about.